Hey, it's a Football Friday, man. We got lots to talk about. Of course, the Bucs are at Seattle, their longest road trip of the year and in quite some time, actually. That game is Sunday at 4 p.m. The NFL did not move its time. What a flex by them. So we'll get into all the matchups, including the parallels, man, between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Two guys that got to be pretty close in their brief time in Carolina. So we got that coming up. Also, Steve, you were at the hockey game and a fight broke out, or you were at the fights in a hockey game.
I was going to say, that was not a hockey game. That was
what the hell? It was preseason. What are we doing here?
Well, when you allow one team to make a run at a player, cross-check, and then sucker punch them twice, and not get thrown out of the game, you get 186 penalty minutes in a game.
That was insane. And this is a carryover from the playoffs, right? Describe what happened since we're here now. Let's just talk about it.
Well, A.J. Greer went after Brandon Hagel about 6-7 minutes into the game. And Hagel was just trying to go to the bench. He got in his way, pushed him, then cross-checked him, then sucker punched him twice.
Now, is that a carryover from the playoffs?
Most likely.
Yeah.
But Hagel had the hit on Barkov, got suspended, and then they took him. Ekblad ended up taking him out of the series.
They took Hagel out the next game.
That wasn't enough, apparently.
I mean, it should have been done right there.
The NHL, for whatever reason, refuses to protect the players. They allow that crap to go on.
I don't get it.
I'm not anti-fighting in hockey. I'm not. But just cheap shots and sucker punching and things like that, throw them out. You can eat that game doesn't get out of hand if the officials, instead of giving 2 roughing minors and a 10-minute misconduct to Greer, if they throw them out of the game, then that game takes a whole different tone. But they didn't do that. They let them stay in.
And not for nothing, it's not a game that counts. You have even more reason to do it,
Right. Mm-hmm.
You could make more of a statement as an officiating crew that, this crap's not going to go on. Obviously, you don't win back-to-back Stanley Cups without being crazy talented, Rich, and they are. Okay, which they are.
No question.
But there is such a thug element and we're not just going to be physical. We're out to hurt the other guy. And it's almost like I dislike the organization now, the head coach that allows it. It's not, they're too good to play that way, and yet they wear it on their sleeve. They want to intimidate you before you even show up at the arena.
Well, I don't have a problem with intimidation as far as you want to be physical, you want to finish your chest.
But not cheap shots.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're looking to take guys out of the game.
But the problem is the officiating does not do anything about it.
I know.
The NHL refuses to, and I don't understand why you're
dumb.
allowing players to get hurt.
Right.
You're allowing stars to get hurt and miss time.
Right.
Because you won't police your game. I do not understand it.
That would be the equivalent of people taking a run at Josh Allen just because. Mm-hmm. Right? Patrick Mahomes just because.
Yeah. And look, Hagel's hit in the postseason when he hit Barkov. He thought Barkov had touched the puck. He hadn't. It was an illegal hit. He got suspended. He deserved it. And we talked about that on this podcast. There's a lot of Lightning fans. Oh, no, he doesn't. No, he deserved that hit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was intent to hurt, but Barkov never had the puck, and it was a bad hit. Got suspended a game. And then Ekblad goes and takes him out afterwards. It makes, and that was a dirty hit, and he got suspended. I don't understand why it's okay in the NHL. The NFL does everything it can to. You can't touch a quarterback.
Oh, God, no. Mm-mm.
You can't touch them, basically,
nope.
without getting a penalty. Because they know these are our stars.
That's our stars. We have to protect them, and rightfully so.
The NHL says, oh, Brendan Hagel's one of the best players. Go ahead, take him out. Oh, this player on this team, go ahead, take him out. They're okay with it. And, and look, there's going to be injuries in games, but why sucker punching and dirty hits and that is okay in hockey? I'll never understand why the GMs refuse to change it. They refuse to. Because 50 years ago, that's the way it was.
Yeah, they cling to their roots, don't they? I mean, they really a little too much. I mean, why don't we, go all the way back and play old-fashioned hockey and take the pads off the goaltender and the helmets off the players? I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. And like I said, a good clean hit, or And look,
if a
guy makes a bad play, like the Hagel play, I have no problem with you going to him answering for it, and Hagel will tell you the same thing. But the cheap shots are different, right? It's one thing if after that you go and challenge him to a fight and you guys drop the gloves and fight, fine, no problem. Hagel did it to Matthew Tkachuk to open the Four Nations tournament last year. Like, that's okay. It's the cheap shots that just drive me nuts. Like, we're okay with our players getting hurt, our stars.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is true, I think at least there's a little bit more of etiquette in the National Football League. It's like, you realize you guys are all on the same side, right? There's the players, and then there's the owners. Why do you want to take another guy's career and shorten it or mess it up?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, he may have a different uniform on, but you're all on the player's side. You should want everyone to have as long as career as they can. So I know they get caught up in the the competitiveness of it and all that stuff. It's just the culture. It's just the roots, the culture of the sport, I suppose.
But now there's concern. I mean, Hagel didn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. He played a little bit more of that period, then didn't come back the rest of the game. Now, John Cooper after the game just kind of said, "Hey, it's about preparing for next week, not tonight. About the regular season, not the preseason." So hopefully he's okay. There's a practice today at noon for the Lightning. Well, maybe he'll be out there for that. We'll see. One more preseason game left at Florida, so they have to play them again.
God, really?
Yep. And then the regular season starts.
What are we just trying to save on travel expenses?
Yeah, I mean, the preseason they play Nashville, Carolina, and Florida. They do it every year. Like teams, they play. Basically, you play the teams close to you.
Well, at least now I understand why they don't play very many preseason games.
Yeah. Well, next year it's going down to 4. This year it was 7. It's going down to 4 next year.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Wow. Well,
but anyway,
glad hockey is back.
Lightning won. They're 6-0 in the preseason. They've never finished the preseason undefeated. When they got to 5-0, that was the first time ever in franchise history. So,
I mean, it's better than losing, but I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's if you're developing good habits and playing well, that's, I mean, whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. But,
yeah.
But you want to be playing the right way. You want to be doing the good things. I mean, that's what you're looking for, right?
Just tell me when Vasi is back and healthy. Tell me when that happens.
He's supposed to play Saturday for the first time.
Okay. And does he typically not play more than a game or two in the preseason?
No, but we know he hasn't been practicing this preseason, so there's something bothering him.
Yeah.
So I mean, normally he plays probably 2 or 3 games in the preseason.
Right.
But hopefully he gets into Saturday, does well, and then is ready for opening night next Thursday.
I'm jacked. I may be at that game. I haven't completely confirmed that yet, but there is a chance that myself and young Alexandra, who's the big hockey fan in our family, the biggest, I should say, might just make it. So, opening night, nothing
opening
like
night's always fun. There's a blue carpet walk out front beforehand, about 3:45 in the afternoon, with all the players in that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Be a live band on the plaza.
That'd be great.
Opening night's always awesome.
Yeah, any sport, but especially hockey is fun.
Yep.
New season is afoot, so here we go. The Buccaneers season is still very much active, and we're going into the second month, and we're here in October. They're headed out to Seattle. They'll take a flight out there sometime on Saturday. I think they arrive somewhere around 3 or 4 o'clock Pacific time, and they did not move the game, as we mentioned yesterday, I believe. That game is still a 4 p.m. kickoff Eastern time, so everything is the same there. Little better news on the injury front, I must say. Even though if as I do this podcast, some very late Friday or early Friday morning, I guess it would be, because we do it for you people. I would say that Bucky Irving is not going to play in this game. Now they've not ruled him out. There's a chance maybe he shows up and practices, on Friday, which is today. But I tend to think not. And I say this because not knowing his exact situation, he's got a shoulder and a foot injury, obviously. But, you've got some, it's a long, long way to the end of the season. We're only at week 4. This is going into week 5. And you're going to need him for the balance of the year. I
Yep.
don't, each game is important, but so is San Francisco. So is at Detroit, so is at New Orleans. And, to put him out there, whatever he is percentage wise, the fact of the matter is they got pretty good running back depth. They really do. Now Bucky's special. You don't have anybody like Bucky Irving on your team. Okay. But Rachaad White has improved as a running back, and especially as he's continued in this offense, in this scheme. Good receiver, really good blocker. He's rested. He hasn't had the bulk of the carries. He's extremely motivated because it's a contract year. And if you could have seen the smile on this guy's face when we talked to him, like, wasn't rooting against Bucky coming back or, happy that he was injured or anything like that. But it was a guy recognizing that he gets his chance, And coincidentally, and I mean purely coincidentally, his best game as a pro in the NFL came against Seattle, and that was the game in Germany, where he literally made a Seahawk fly with a one-handed stiff arm and won Kyle Brandt's Scepter Award for it as the angry run that week. But so you get to see him, get to see Sean Tucker, who has also done great things when given a little bit of a chance, like he did in New Orleans a year ago. I think he had over 160 total yards of offense from scrimmage. And Josh Williams, who's another really good-looking player from LSU. I've not seen many veterans rave about rookie running backs the way they've talked about this kid. And I mean, LSU's a factory when it comes to running backs and linebackers and things like that. And so he didn't get to play very much. But when he did, he was productive. But now he's going to get a lot more chance and a lot more run maybe in the NFL than he did in college. So I think they'll be okay. It's not what Bucky can do. And it certainly hurts you when you don't have your best players. But I think it's one position that has a little bit of depth, at least at this time. And I also think they have one very, very motivated Rachaad White, who did not try to hide his excitement about the fact that he could see the ball early and often. So that was kind of cool.
Well, it should be a motivated Sean Tucker, too, to get another shot.
It should, yeah. And, Sean's kind of like, this is Sean. Hey, Sean, looks like, Bucky might not be able to play this week. Like, if he can't, how do you feel? How excited are you? He goes, yeah, I get a chance to get the ball, I'll do the best I can. It's just kind of understated. He don't care. But of course he's excited and he's a really good running back. And he proved that, with the brief time. I like guys that when they get their chance, and it might only be one, that they're ready. They're prepared. When they turned to him and Rachaad White was out and it was, just Bucky and Sean Tucker. Tucker went nuts. He went nuts that day in New Orleans. Now, part of that had to do with the Saints, but he was prepared and he had an unbelievable game. And they never saw the ball the rest of the year. But he'll be prepared again, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how those guys play. To be honest with you, I think they might do a nice job. But make no mistake, it'll be a tough game. Mike Evans, of course, is going to be out, and that's a shame. But he's still a week or two away from playing again. The good news is that a bunch of guys that would not have practiced during the walkthrough on Wednesday were back out there on Thursday and will be there today. Guys like Tristan Wirfs and Hassan Reddick, who had kind of a stinger in his neck. Chris Godwin was there. Greg Gaines, who I worried about because it was a pectoral injury, he was able to practice. Logan Hall was able to go. Sterling Shepard, who popped up on the injury list kind of unexpectedly. And then you had a couple guys limited, but I still think they're trending towards playing, and that's Tyke Smith with the ankle and Levante David, who has a knee. We don't know about Christian Izien. It would be really helpful if he could play, because if something were to slow Tyke Smith or something, you might need him there. And then Jamel Dean and Benjamin Morrison. The bad news is that neither one of those guys did practice. But outside of Bucky, who's probably the biggest name, Baker Mayfield seems fine. Now, when I say fine, he practiced fully, still has the biceps, and now they've added the knee to the injury report. So he's got some kind of of a boo-boo there, and that's not shocking given the amount of hits he takes. But they're going to show up. They're going to play. They have enough pieces to win, and it's a long trip. Like there's a lot to overcome. But I think the offensive line having its second week with 3 of those 5 guys in their normal positions, the fact that you kind of know what kind of game you're in for, like defensively, put on the big boy pants because they're going to run the ball downhill. That's just what Seattle does. So it should be a really, interesting game. Like I said, long trip, difficult for teams to go on the road in that ballpark and win, because you can barely hear yourself think. And at some point during the day, I don't know when, because I haven't checked the Major League Baseball schedule, the Seattle Mariners will begin, I guess, in ALDS. And I don't know how that's going to all play out. But NFL said, what, we move? Why? We were here first. We don't care. Have your game whenever you want to.
Well, they don't care if they're second either. They did that with the Rays this year at Ray J and Steinbrenner.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, we do what we do. You guys do what you have to do. But kind of funny. This game.
By the way, it's a 5:00 Seattle time, first pitch Sunday.
5:00. Okay,
8 o'clock here, so it'll be right after the game.
So it'll be about an hour after the game finishes. Yeah.
Yep.
So well, should be interesting trying to get out of there when people are coming in for the baseball game. That'll be fun. Look, I think this game boils down to a couple things. One, Seattle is going to run the football with Walker from Michigan State. Sam Darnold, great parallel stories. Him and Baker Mayfield, almost the same guy. 2018 draft. Bowles wanted Baker number 1. He went to Cleveland instead. He ended up with Darnold. Bowles got fired, I think, after his rookie year. Those 2 guys have bounced around to the point where they were both in Carolina together. And, of course, Baker got waived. Eventually, Darnold, after the year he signed with Minnesota, had his revival there and won 14 games and got lost in the playoffs and then became a free agent. And, now he's with the Seahawks and playing really good football. I think he only has maybe 1 interception or 2 this year, but he's got them off to a 3-1 start, and they look really, really good. But, top 5, I want to say top 5 defense or no, top 5 scoring. Yeah, they're a pretty good scoring offense and one of the top 10 or so on defense. So it's a well-balanced team. It's a well-coached team. It's a tough place to play. It's the loudest outdoor stadium in the NFL. So communication will be a key this week. But I think, outside of Bucky, I think they're going to be okay with the kind of guys that finished last week's game. And that's kind of all you can hope for at this juncture. So, health being the biggest thing, I think they have a decent shot. I think Chris Godwin will be better in his second week. Mike Evans still isn't there, obviously. You got Emeka Egbuka, and congratulations to him. How about this kid? He comes on the scene out of Ohio State. Everybody raving about him, right? Impresses in the OTAs, impresses in the mini camp, kind of blows it out in training camp. And then when the regular season starts, does he shrink? No, he goes the other way. He is the NFC Offensive Rookie of the Month. And there's never been a receiver for the Bucs that has won that award, as in ever. So that's, 50 years of it. Just a remarkable first 4 games of the season, with the 4 touchdowns and, the last game having to do it without Mike. So well-deserved and, certainly a guy that is going to be, integral every game and especially when Mike's not in the lineup. I mean, you got to find ways to get him the ball. You got to be creative enough to move him around and get him involved. And then I think Chris Godwin will be way, way better his second game. There's no question he was rusty. 10 targets, just 3 catches. I think he could have a better split there. So, you always give him a puncher's chance the way the defense played the second half. If they could do that against, Seattle and start the game that way, that's been the perplexing thing, I think, for Todd Bowles and his staff is we end up playing really, really well, but in every single game we've started slow. and something is amiss there. I don't know what you have to do. Get them up an hour earlier. I would give them Red Bull. I have no idea, but they do seem a little lifeless at the beginning of games, and so with the time change and different things going on, you hope that's not a factor. So, but I'm both teams are going to wear their '76 throwback uniforms. This could be aesthetically a cool game to watch. Bucks in their white creamsicles, and of course Seattle in their blue.
For all the uniform guys, it may be the best uniform matchup.
Yeah,
ever.
I think it is. I really do. There was some post about that. I was like, I don't know that I can argue with that. I think you're right. So hey, listen, if the Bucks come back 4-1, I have mad respect for them because I just think this team is just so beat up right now that they're kind of like trying to find their bearings, get back to their corner. But there's no rest. I mean, it just gets harder from here on out. So, we'll see if they're able to make that long road trip and have a happy one coming back very, very, very late on Sunday night into into Monday morning, I'm sure. Pretty interesting Monday night football game I want to get into with the Bucs' next opponent, the San Francisco 49ers. But first, hey, get on down to Breitling Boutique at International Plaza Mall. We've told you about these guys, terrific sponsors for us in our podcast. And what I want you to know about the Breitling Company is that they've been in business for 140 years, making the best Swiss watches you will ever buy. And they've been at International Plaza for more than 5 years. Now, it's located in the center of the mall, second floor. Go in there and spend some time with the great sales staff. They're going to tell you everything you need to know. I don't know anything about a Swiss watch and which ones are good and which ones would make sense for me, but they do. And sit down with these folks. They're going to tell you about the men's watches they have, the chronomats, the Navitimers, the very popular watches for men. They also have watches for your women too, your wife, your girlfriend. These are sports watches that are stunningly beautiful. They're also very durable, and they come in an array full of different colored wristbands that she can choose from. And while supplies last, maybe the coolest thing they're doing is they have NFL team watches. All 32 teams have their own watch. It is custom designed. These are chronomat watches with the team colors on the face of the watch as well as the logo. You have to see these to believe them. You're going to want one, I assure you. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. When you go, please let them know that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. I mentioned the San Francisco 49ers because they are the Bucs' next opponent, and they played a very tough game against the Los Angeles Rams in SoFi on the road, where there were way more 49er fans than there were Rams fans. That aside, man, hats off to Mac freaking Jones. You remember him? He was the guy that was all everything in Alabama, ended up, I think, a first-round pick of I think it was first round of the New England Patriots.
Yep.
Was the guy that opposed Tom Brady when Brady made his first return to Foxborough with the Bucs and damn near beat Tom that night. And for whatever reason, the Niners decided to move on a different way. And lo and behold, he ends up in San Francisco, which was a team, by the way, that really liked him and may have drafted him had they gotten a chance, because Kyle Shanahan, really liked him as well. And Mac had to step in for Brock Purdy again, and he was hurt himself. Like, he's not right, whether it's his calf or his leg. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. And he took some shots, but he delivered them a win and made some clutch throws and quarterback sneaks and different things that were going on, led them down the field when they really needed it. So big win for John Lynch and company, because these guys, they're leaking oil much the same way the Bucs are. They're missing some of their stars as well. And now, like I said, it's kind of cruel twist of fate or irony in that the Bucs' next two opponents will have 10 days rest before they play them. Meanwhile, the Bucs are all busted up and could use just 30 more minutes. And by the time Lynch's team gets here a week from Saturday, they're going to be fine.
Well, but those are the challenges the schedule has. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't always. Sometimes you get the advantage. You play Thursday night, you get the 10 days.
Yeah.
Other times you don't. Like, You look at you think
but they got back-to-back teams with 10 days rest.
Yes, which is very rare.
Yeah, extremely.
And it's going to be a disadvantage for them.
I would think.
I know there's been teams in the past that have played multiple teams coming off buys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it just happens. I mean,
yeah.
Remember years ago the Bucs got screwed when they went 49 days between home games.
Stupid, wasn't it?
Because the NFL screwed up and didn't realize the one home game in that stretch was overseas. If you remember that.
I do, yeah.
And the NFL came out afterwards with like, oops. Our bad.
We sorry about that, man. Yeah. You guys are going to be gone for a month and a half. That's okay.
They looked at the schedule, said, oh, no, they're home. Whoops.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. No, they're definitely not. But
ultimately, you got to play the teams in front of you, and
yeah,
there's no excuses because at the end of the day, all they do is count wins.
That's all. That's it. And even though the Philadelphia Eagles are getting the crap kicked out of them for not winning pretty, they've won 22 out of 23 games, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's crazy, but playing really, really well, and yet that's all the shows were about. Just the other day after the Bucs played them, is that what's wrong with the Eagles? Well, nothing that 21 out of 22 wins won't fix. Jeez, man. Relax a little bit up there in Philly.
Yeah, they might take their foot off the gas in that second half, but don't know what's wrong with them.
Jesus. I don't. Let's just sit here and talk about what's right with them. It's a lot easier, but that's the way people are. But anyway, this is going to be a really good game. Looking forward to the atmosphere. It's beautiful out there this time of year. Typically, having said that, I've not jinxed it. It'll probably rain the whole day.
Well, it is Seattle.
It is Seattle. Yeah. A lot of fun things in Seattle these days. Not sure if you watch the news or not. I try not to, but I'm going to stick pretty close to the team hotel. Actually, I'm looking forward going down to what do they call it? The pier down there.
The wharf.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot for not knowing what they call it.
The Puget Sound and.
No, yeah, but it's
the fish market there.
Yeah, where the fish market is, all that stuff. Yeah,
I can't think of the name. I've been there. I can't think of the name.
Yeah, I know what it is. I'll come up with it in a minute. But anyway, that's a fun thing to do. I've done a lot of weird things since I've been to Seattle quite a bit.
And
Pike Place. Thank you. I've been to Seattle quite a bit and love staying downtown because it's a good walking town. You can walk down to Pike's Place and. Yep. Walk further down the street. You have the original Starbucks, which I'm kind of a geek about that stuff. Like, show me a food chain where it began, and I'm like, whoa, Even the logo's a little different, by the way. They still have the original one on the door and stuff like that. So that's cool. And Pike Place is cool. It's where they throw the lives. You want to go buy a big salmon to grill, like it's a whole fish. And they have this thing where they'll toss it to tourists, These things are enormous. It's kind of funny to watch. It's good entertainment, but great food down there. And there's a place outside of Seattle, snow country, called Snoqualmie, where I've gone skiing up there before, gotten up at 4 a.m., watched the sunrise up there when I was skiing. It was cool as hell. And there's a place also near Snoqualmie that Twin Peaks was filmed. The beginning of Twin Peaks. I don't know if you remember that TV series with the waterfall. Mm-hmm. Yep. That waterfall is there, and over that waterfall is a gourmet breakfast place. And when I say gourmet, I'm not talking about your basic omelet station. Like this place is unbelievable, and I've been there one time. So I got little landmarks that I'd love to visit if I get a chance. But then it's only going to be about 20 hours in town, and I'm on my way back. So such is life. But happy to be going. Should be a great game, and really a game that I think the Bucs can kind of make a statement, like, okay, we lost to Philadelphia. We gave up the early kick, is what it is, but we're still here and we're still very relevant and we can beat the top teams in the NFC. And we just proved it again. Because I think, and, rightfully so, there's questions about how good the Bucs are. I wrote that last week, and because of the schedule that they played and the one that's about to be played, we really don't know. I think we'll know a lot more this week, but then you got more guys hurt this week, so you're kind of one step back, one step forward, 3 steps back kind of deal. But I think they'll do fine. I expect it to be a close game. I think the Bucs are underdogs by 3.5 points on the road, which figure get 3 points for playing at home. So it's a sizable difference in a sense, but this will be good for them. I think, when you're winning, it's hard to win and you're very happy to win, but sometimes you don't enjoy it as much as you should. And when you're losing, it's like crisis or carnival. You think, oh my God, we're never going to win again. I'm going to get fired. And all this doom and gloom comes about. So at some point you want to level out just a bit. And, hopefully this team isn't one like the last 2 years that started off with a fast start and then, quickly ended up losing a bunch of games and going on a losing streak and having to dig their way out of it in November and December. So you want to try to avoid that if you can. That's why this would be a really, really big game for them to have. Big college football weekend. Florida has a pretty big game, I think, with Texas and Arch Manning coming into Gainesville. He's been struggling of late, at least as far as the expectations go. I got a feeling that, am I wrong? I'm not a believer in DJ Lagway even a little bit, but I got a feeling Texas may struggle in this game. I give the Gators a puncher's chance in this.
Florida's defense is legit.
Yeah, for sure.
Legit. And, they can give Arch lots of problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Much like Ohio State did.
Tough place to play. 90,000 very loud fans, and and they're not going to back down, as Tom Petty says. So that'll be a good one. Of course, the big one in the state, and really maybe around the nation, is Florida State or Miami at Florida State. So battle of two powers, once national championship contenders, maybe once again. We'll see. But my initial thought is that Miami just has too much power. I think they're just really, really good. And I wouldn't be surprised if, either, they go ahead and run the table or come close to it. This Miami team is pretty special. But then Florida State also beat Alabama earlier this year, so you can't completely discount them too. But I just love that Florida State, Miami, Florida are back to playing relevant games. I think Florida has a lot to do to kind of get back where Florida State is. USF plays tonight. They play Charlotte, is it?
Yep, about 4 touchdown favorites. So
yeah, they covered last year. I'd take them to cover again. Yep. Really, there's almost no excuse for them not to run the table in conference play. I think. I'm not sure there's a team on that schedule that can beat them.
Yeah, I mean Memphis is really good. We saw them beat Arkansas.
That's true. They did. You're right.
And they have to go to Memphis this year. So
go Tigers. Yeah.
Go Tigers go is the proper way to say it there.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
That's my wife's alma mater. So.
I went to Arkansas State when we were the Indians, so you know what we did.
Yeah. Well, my wife's alma mater is Memphis. So
Yeah. I know. We were just not at the same time, but a mere 60 miles apart from universities across the old Mississippi River there.
Yes.
Fun drives into thank God for Memphis. I would not have survived going to college up there, man. I mean, it was always like, hey, you want to go to Memphis? Sure. When are we leaving? It was 60 miles away. You know what's interesting about Memphis that I did not know until I went to school in that area is it's an incredible college football town. Not so much for Memphis, which was then Memphis State. That's part of it. But moreover, it's kind of like in this weird apex on the river there of SEC schools.
Tennessee, Ole Miss.
Some people root for Tennessee, Ole Miss, Arkansas. Yeah, it's crazy. But you'll go to a bar, which I just remember one called Yosemite Sam's, which was great. But you'll go into these sports bars and there's pockets of lots and lots of fans of these different teams. And there's so many of them, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, they drag in the Mississippi schools, they drag in the Missouri schools. Like, it's crazy on a college football weekend up there.
Yep.
So it's a lot of fun. I like Memphis a lot.
I loved living in Memphis. I lived there for 2 years. I loved it.
Yeah. Airport felt like 1940, but
Yeah, well, I mean, the airport's there just basically to service FedEx, not really.
That's true. That's true.
There's more cargo goes in and out of Memphis's airport than any airport in the world.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's if you watch the airplane maps in Memphis, So, like in the morning, passenger jets will come in and out, and then there'll be a pause.
Yeah.
And then it's all cargo jets in.
Wow.
And then there'll be more passenger jets, and then there's another pause, and it's all cargo jets going out.
You're saying this is FedEx?
Oh, yeah, because it's headquartered there. That's where Fred Smith founded it.
Oh, okay.
It's the biggest company in Memphis. And so the way Fred Smith and FedEx revolutionized shipping was that everything came into Memphis, which is in the center of the country, and then goes out. Like if you're shipping something from Houston to Tampa, it doesn't go from Houston to Tampa. It goes from Houston to Memphis and then Memphis to Tampa.
Gotcha.
And UPS does the same thing stuff now, but FedEx was headquartered in Memphis and started there. And that airport is basically built to service FedEx.
Home of Castaway and Tom Hanks, that great movie with Helen Hunt. He worked for FedEx, I believe. Okay. And he comes back to Memphis after he's, gone at sea, and they find him again, and comes back only to discover, he goes, it's a great little passage in the movie where he goes, wait, we have a football team? And she goes, oh yeah, it's the Titans. It was the Oilers. They moved from Houston. They almost won the Super Bowl. It was unbelievable. They came a yard short. So good.
Yeah. The movie The Firm was shot in Memphis.
It was. Tom Cruise, yeah.
The front of my condo building was prominent in the movie at many scenes in the movies.
Was it? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was shot before I moved there and lived there.
I was going to say, did you see it actually being made? But
no, it was a couple years prior. But
yeah.
But when I watched that movie, I'm like, hey, that was where my condo was.
So historic town, a lot of major things. Obviously, Graceland is a great place to visit. I really enjoyed that back in my day when I was shown Memphis for the first time.
Yep.
And where Martin Luther King was assassinated, not a happy thing, but historical, the Lorraine Hotel.
Yep.
I believe it was called.
There now. Yeah.
Yeah, now a museum. So yeah, interesting town, but great food. My God, the ribs. I fell in love with the dry rub ribs up in
Dreamland,
Memphis.
Or Dreamland's Birmingham. You mean Rendezvous?
That
I lived
was
in Birmingham too, so that Dreamland ribs were fantastic as well.
But. Yeah. Those were the Alabama ribs. Yep. Ray Perkins used to have those shipped in on Friday from Birmingham to Tampa. Yeah,
the ribs and the banana pudding there at Dreamland is so good.
Yeah, you only have like 3 menu options. It's ribs, white bread, and banana pudding. I think.
Pretty much. I mean,
it's
there's some beans
Pepsi,
too.
maybe
some beans and
or sweet tea or whatever it was that they served. Yes,
those are the best barbecue. Not that we should be talking about barbecue, but many years ago, engineered a game at Southern Miss. So going to Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Oh God!
So we get there on Friday night, because we fly in the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So the SID from Southern Miss is going to take the broadcasters and our SID out. So we're going to go to this Letha's Barbecue. All right, cool. Let's go. So we get in this car and we drive 20 miles south of town, off a highway, dark. Then you get off the highway, no lights to get off the highway here. You go under the underpass and you're going through a bunch of trees. You're going like, where the heck it's a restaurant? No, it's a 1-bedroom house. There's like 3 houses there, 1-bedroom house. You walk in, there's just folding tables and folding chairs. And it's ribs, salad, water, sweet tea. That's the menu.
That's it, man.
That's the menu. They've been up since 5 a.m. cooking the ribs. One-room house.
Yeah.
And it's the best ribs I've ever had.
It's the best ever, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't find the place. Who knows if they're still around, but I mean, you couldn't find it if you would have given me directions.
Yeah.
You go to the bathroom and the towel to wash your hands is the curtain as well.
Oh God. Okay.
Enough
said.
It was the best ribs I've ever had. Hands down. And I've had Memphis and Birmingham and
Dreamland is called, right? Is that the one in Birmingham?
That's in Birmingham. Yep.
Yeah, that's up a hill in the middle of nowhere. I mean, absolute nowhere.
Yep. They have a couple now. There's one in Atlanta.
That's what I heard. They franchised them. Yeah.
Yeah. But Rendezvous, we get Rendezvous rub and sauce shipped here. So.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah, when I cook ribs, sometimes we'll use the Rendezvous rub. And so.
Memphis was great. When I went to school there, and I'm sure our listeners are very excited about old man radio right now. But I don't care. When I went to look, you can turn it off if you want to. When I went to school there, it was Memphis State.
Yeah,
they called it Memphis State at that time.
Yes, it was.
And you won't remember this, but I was playing baseball in St. Petersburg, and there was a shortstop that also played in St. Petersburg by the name, he played at Gibbs High School by the name of Dave Anderson. And Dave Anderson went to Memphis State to be a quarterback and also play baseball. Well, he ended up giving up football, and it was a good decision. And my first college game at Arkansas State was against Memphis State. We beat them. We swept them in a doubleheader, as a matter of fact. He's playing shortstop. I ended up at second base. I think it might have been a double or something, but I ended up at second base. And it was like two guys, thousands of miles away saying, "Yo, how's it going, man?" And that Dave Anderson became a shortstop for the Los Angeles Dodgers and played many, many years as their starting shortstop. So Memphis has a famous baseball player from St. Petersburg named Dave Anderson. So that was pretty cool. All right. Let's see. What else we got? We mentioned the college football weekend.
Yeah, we got baseball playoffs. Now the first round's done.
The baseball playoffs, yeah. Those have been kind of interesting, I thought.
The fact that 3 of the 4 series went to 3 games.
Yeah.
What, 18 out of 20 never got past 2 games, I think, of the past 5 years or whatever it is.
Right.
16 out of 20.
It was drama, yeah.
And pretty much went, the favorites won. The Yankees won. The Cubs
Yankees,
won.
Dodgers,
the Dodgers won.
Cubs, yeah.
The Tigers were the only upset by seeds.
Yeah, they were on the road, so they won.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, they were good. They were good series, good ball games, a lot of excitement. Shohei Ohtani is just a beast, What if that guy, they kind of preserved his arm, his innings, got him pitching again, and he will never get the credit he deserves. But people don't realize how we're watching, like in our own era, of Babe Ruth right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just a dominant player, can pitch, when healthy. Of course, obviously a tremendous hitter and home run hitter and things like that. It's crazy, and I still think this is the Dodgers World Series to lose. They are stacked. They're stacked. They must have 3 or 4 MVPs, not all of them winning MVPs when they were with the Dodgers, but it's crazy how talented that team is.
Betts, Freeman. I mean,
yeah. Remember Freeman last year? All he did was hit home runs every time up.
Yeah. Well, you know who the number 1 catcher is now?
Mm-mm.
Ben Rortvedt.
Really?
Yeah, because their catchers are all hurt. Will Smith and all that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, Rortvedt's one of their main guys now.
Nice place to land.
No, much like Kiermaier, went out there and won a title.
That's true. He did. You're right. Was that his last year in baseball, I think?
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah. Got the ring. Got my dinger and went home.
Yep.
Yeah. So now he's kind of on the bench when Toronto comes around. And of course the Rays were sold. We talked about that with Patrick Zalewski, and I guess next week they'll be talking more themselves when they're introduced.
Yeah, I think is a press conference on Tuesday, I think it is.
Tuesday, I want to say, yeah.
Yep.
I don't expect a lot of differences in terms of how they'll approach this first season. I don't expect free agent signings that are going to be extravagant, or I don't think you're going to see Pete Alonso march in here, that sort of thing. They'll have to get their bearings a little bit, but it's still, as it's constituted right now, and you get Shane McClanahan back or somebody like that. It's still a very competitive team that could win the AL East, next year with the group they got, but I think they'll certainly add to it.
Although it's going to be interesting. And I don't know if they'll add a ton of payroll this offseason.
Probably not.
But do they challenge Eric Neander and company to, look, it's 2 straight years you had losing records. Not just missed the playoffs, losing records the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Is it time to shake some things up?
I don't know.
Is it time to make a big trade?
Yeah, I don't know.
It may not add a ton of payroll per se, but change some pieces out and see. I don't know what their final say on the season was and why they think things happened the way it did. And some of it, McClanahan never came back, and Ha-Seong Kim was much later coming back, and the stadium and the temporary digs and outside baseball and all this stuff. There's a lot of factors in it, but after 2 years, is it still stay status quo, or do they make some big, bold moves? And like I said, it doesn't have to be signing a free agent for $35 million a year.
Right.
But a big trade where maybe you trade a piece or two you didn't think they would trade, but to get back other big pieces. Like, do you trade a Brendan Lau or a Pete Fairbanks or, even a Shane McClanahan to get stuff back? I mean, who knows? I mean,
we don't know what we don't know. I mean, we don't know what their approach will be. It could be that, or it could be, hey, it ain't broke on the field, don't fix it. Let's just try to continue on. And
but the question is it broke on the field or not? Because if you've had 2 straight losing seasons, you can't just flat out say it's not broke.
Well, I think they have to. I think they have to do stuff, but I don't think.
There may be reasons for it, and maybe you're not far off. But do we think if they came back with the exact same roster next year that they're going to all of a sudden make the playoffs? Do you think if your outfield is Josh Lowe, Chandler Simpson?
No, I
Jake
think
Mangum?
you have to add. I think you definitely have to add some bona fide punch to your outfield.
Right.
I think you got too many guys that look and play like Chandler Simpson. Nothing against him. Everybody should have one of those guys. They had Kevin Kiermaier for years, who was that guy.
Yep.
But your corner outfielders probably need to bring a heavier bat and hit some home runs, which is what they thought Josh Lowe would do, and he didn't.
Right.
So yeah, I think they should upgrade there. Catching is always, a revolving door, saloon door here, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Be nice for them to get somebody that at least had some offensive skills, hit you 15, 20 home runs a year. They can definitely upgrade this team. I don't think
they have to.
They're not all stars. I mean, but they got some pretty damn good pieces.
No question. I'm not tearing it down. But,
no. But just add to it.
Like, the question is, are you making little tweaks, or are you going to try a bigger tweak? And
yeah, I don't know.
I don't, I'm not sure what's available, and from trade and this, that, and the other. They said, and big moves doesn't mean you have to add a ton of payroll either.
No,
I mean, Brendan Lau is going to make 11 or 12 million this year, and so is Yandy Diaz, and Fairbanks is in that range. Like, if you trade one or two of those, you can add big pieces.
You save some payroll, yeah.
So it's going to be interesting what they do.
Yeah, they might be very active in the hot stove league. Who knows? But
and then the other part, and I don't know the impact of this, but the baseball CBA is going to end in a year from now, or a year and a month or two, whatever, December of 26. Are you trying to sign free agents longer term now before a new CBA takes place, or is everyone waiting? And it's going to be interesting how that even goes this offseason, knowing that there's a chance the 2027 season does not get played. Because we know that at this point, and you're 14 months away, and really 16 or 17 months away from the season starting, that season, of the owners and the players are not close to what they want. But, like I said, you're 16, 17, 18 months away from missing any games. The lockout would happen before that, but, and so how that impacts everything, and I don't know the logistics of it and the specifics, but it'll be interesting how that impacts things too.
Yeah, no, a lot of issues, and when you buy into these teams, and according to what the valuations were and Forbes and different places, they paid over what their market value was estimated. With not having a stadium, sounds very familiar to me. I lived it with Malcolm Glazer. He at that time thought he spent a record amount of money for a franchise. I think it was like $193 million, but did not have a stadium that could sustain the Buccaneers, and was, at least considering other sites. And then they passed the community investment tax, and they built Raymond James, and the rest is history. And you got to figure out, first thing they got to do, day one, where are we playing? I don't mean the Trop. I mean when the Trop is done. Like, we need to know, and we need to know tomorrow. So I would imagine that would be a priority, as well. It's layered, right? You got one guy handles the baseball day to day, and there's business and so on and so forth. So I don't know what their structure is exactly, but I am curious what they'll do. I tend to think that they'll try to not reinvent the wheel right away. Not to say that they wouldn't pursue, a good free agent if one was available, but they spent an awful lot of money on that ball club, and they're going to have to spend even more money probably on a stadium. So I don't know how crazy they get. But, if you just put out there Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, You know, your Caminero, your big superstars. Even if Taylor Walls has to play short, but you also have the kid that came up late last year, late in the season,
Carson
Williams. You know, you got at least 2 of the 3 outfielders you might be able to live with. You know, you don't know what's going to happen with Josh Lowe per se, but you know, with Brandon Lau at second, I mean, how many more players do you really need? It'd be great to say, hey, here's a 50 home run, 50 home run a year guy, and then put the keys on the table. But I think if they just continue to do what they're doing for now, and then let's see how competitive they can get when they get back home, and maybe get some pieces back on the pitching mound and go from there. But it's kind of like, I liken it to this, and I don't know these guys' finances at all. They may be richer than any sheik in Saudi Arabia. I have no idea. But it feels a lot like I extended myself to buy a house, and now I'm in the house. It's a beautiful house, but we haven't bought curtains yet. And it's going to be a while before we put our floors in, and we're going to go with this carpet here because we're not, but believe me, I have a vision for this place. It kind of feels that way, but what do I know? I've never bought a Major League Baseball team. I have no idea what they're planning. I know they are meeting and trying to get to know, the people in that organization pretty well. So that's a process. So we'll see. Should be, new is not always better. I just want to caution people on that. And sometimes it's way better. You just got to wait and see, unfortunately. All right. Well, we're going into the weekend. Want to make sure you guys get on down to Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. That's where you're going to find the beautiful watches, NFL team watches, all 32 NFL teams represented. They got of course, the colored of your favorite team and their logos. It is Breitling Boutique International Plaza. Please let them know that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Thanks for listening and hanging in there for Steve Versnick. I appreciate that very much after a long Lightning game. And for Steve, I'm Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. Hey, have a great and safe weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you about the game on Monday.